Donald MacDonald from the Isle of Skye went to study at an English university and was living in the hall of residence with all the other students there. After he'd been there a month, his mother came to visit him. Here's the part I should apologize for. "And how do you find the English students, Donald?" she said. That's my Scottish accent. "Oh, mother," he said, "they're such terrible, noisy people. The one on that side keeps banging his head, screaming, and the other one just screams all night and won't stop. I don't know what to do." And she says, "Oh, Donald, how do you manage to put up with these awful, noisy English neighbors?" And he says, "Well, Ma, I just ignore them mostly and sit here quietly playing my bagpipes." Yeah. Yeah. We're going to come back to that in a moment. But before that, tonight's talk is called Divine Potentiality. So I want to share with you the definition of this word, potentiality, which is slightly different from the word potential. Potentiality says this: it is a quality that can be developed to make something or someone better, a chance or a possibility that something will happen or exist in the future. Whereas potential is having or showing the capacity to become or to develop into something in the future. So the way that I kind of read through these, sometimes I pick these titles and I don't know what it exactly is going to show up, and I was like, divine potentiality, that sounds important. So I put that down. like 3 months ago, and then it came time to work on the talk the last few weeks, and I was like, is there a difference between potential and potentiality? And so that's potentiality. And I really want to focus on the first part there, a quality that can be developed to make someone or something better, and then potential, the capacity to become or develop in the future. So I really want to stay with this definition, and as you can see, the word I made bigger, that's what I really want to focus on. Potentiality is a quality that can be developed to make someone or something better. And then, let's go to this image. I don't know if you caught the lyric in Jana's song, "Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of the seed, are there miracles in you and me?" So that we all know what that is, right? That's an acorn, which becomes something like that. Or something like that. Can you imagine? This is a beautiful old live oak, centuries old. If you ever get a chance to go to Beck's Prime, right over whichever direction, right over there, over there. They have these centuries-old live oaks on their patio. They withstood hurricanes, and thank God they didn't tear them down or cut them down when they built over there. All of them started with a single acorn, and the live oak acorns are not very big. And something magnificent was waiting to happen inside that tiny seed. There was a potential for something becoming better. So what I want to share with you tonight is the idea that you have divine potentiality, and it's built in. You don't have to get good enough to tap into it. You don't have to work for it or earn it or deserve it in any way. There's nothing you have to change or alter in who you are. Your potentiality to become more than you already are and to develop and express in great and magnificent ways, it's already hardwired in you. And you actually can't do anything to remove it. It's just part of the fabric of reality that we share consciousness with the one mind. The one mind that said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That same creative impulse for discovery and delivery of new and beautiful expressions of Spirit's own nature, that is in you. And it wants to evolve, it wants to reveal in greater and greater ways. That's the way it's designed. That's who you are. Our friend up I-59, you may know Reverend Osteen, He often, at the beginning of his services, will hold up his Bible. Do you remember that? If you've watched it or if you've been over there, you know what he says. This is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I have what it says I have, and I can do what it says I can do. And that's absolutely true. And what we would say in unity is that it is true, but it's not true because it's in the Bible. It's actually in the Bible because it's true. Amen. That all of the great religions of the world have collected wisdom and truth over centuries of practice and discovery, and they've recorded it in ways that have been handed down in generation after generation. And in our tradition, which is Christianity, we have been given the beautiful heritage of the Hebrew and the Christian scriptures, which contain all these promises about who we are and what is available for us. All things work together for the good of them that love God and are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. What that means is no matter what happens in your life, no matter how the circumstances don't line up with what you had signed up for, you thought, it's all working for the potentiality of your own being to be revealed. That is what's occurring. And our work is to reveal it, to open to it, to allow it to move through us and to express who and what we are in greater and greater ways, up until the moment we take our last breath on the planet, and then beyond. As I said, there's nothing you can do to remove your divine potentiality. You can, however, block its expression. And how do we do that? I love this image. Sometimes Google is just wonderful. You can get lost in there for days. But I was looking for images. I think I put it's a hidden light, and I got all of these like recessed lighting images from architectural things. And I was like, so maybe it's not hidden light, it's like light within. And this was an image that a photographer had created with his model. And there's something about it that struck me. Imagine that you are a light being. There is within you, at the very core of your nature, pure white light of love and healing and expression and truth and power and peace and beauty. And it wants to just reveal itself in everything you do and in every relationship you have, and yet we hold it back. And then another image came to mind that I wanted to find, and I found this beautiful image. That the light of God is shining like the sun always, forever, all the time. And yet sometimes something is in the way. There is something blocking the expression of your divine potentiality. And I think of that wonderful scene in Moonstruck when Cher goes to Nicolas Cage and she slaps him and says, "Snap out of it!" I want to do that to myself in my own consciousness sometimes, because I see myself not revealing my divine potentiality, but revealing my smallness and my fear. And then I remember that the light, and let's go back to that other image for just a moment, the light is there. The truth of who I am is always present. Even when I can't feel it, it's there. So what is it that blocks it? What are the things that hold it back? In unity, we would say it's false belief or a limited idea. Charles Fillmore taught so beautifully about the idea of divine ideas, that we are a divine idea, but the divine ideas wish to express through us. That's the light. There's a divine idea for you around work. There's a divine idea for your relationship life. There's a divine idea for your money life, for your health. And these divine ideas are yours. They're already there, and something in them doesn't believe it, doesn't know it. And so we act from a place of less than divine idea. Stephen Covey says this: we must look at the lens through which we see the world as well as the world we see, and that the lens itself shapes how we interpret the world. We're not seeing things correctly. Like Donald McDonald. He thinks the problem is his English neighbors are noisy people. He's ignoring his own racket that he's creating with his bagpipe, if you remember. I told you we were going to come back to that. His reality is different than the reality of his neighbors. He's having a different experience because he's seeing things through the ingrained belief system of his own culture, his own family system, his own experience. And that's what we do as well. We see the world not as it is, but as we are. There's a misconception in unity teaching and in New Thought. Some people think that we teach that you get what you want if you do your affirmation right. We don't ever teach that, actually. What we teach is that you get what you are to the degree that you're able to embody it and be it and live it. What you are is the light of God. Jesus said it. If you don't believe me, believe him. He said, don't you know you are the light of the world? But we don't know. Not fully. So we're learning how to clear the lens of our seeing. And Anais Nin, she says this, the self is merely the lens through which we see others and the world. Sometimes what we think is us, is me, is Michael, it's just my lens of experience. It's not the truth of who I am at all. But it feels like me, because that's what I've been living. This pattern of less than, this pattern of insignificance, this pattern of not enough, that feels like me. I've been living it so long, it feels like the truth of who I am. Jesus talked about this. Do not judge, or you will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you used, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. What we're doing is we're projecting our plankiness in our eye upon our brothers and sisters and seeing a splinter there. Oh, you have a speck there. We're seeing because we're seeing through the lens of our own belief system, our own limited understanding of reality. And so if we're going to begin to live into our divine potentiality and get healed and get free, does anybody want to get healed and get free tonight? We have to go to the root level of our beliefs and begin to change who and what we think we are. I'll tell you, I have many, many, many examples of false beliefs that I have lived and embodied for years, thinking it was who I am. But I'll tell you one. This came to my mind. I have been recording CDs and albums in the New Thought movement for, more than 15 years, Linda Starr. She's here tonight. And she told me once to not say any number bigger than 15 because it makes people think that I'm old. It's actually 25 years I've been recording music and writing music for the Unity movement. And it was a struggle for me to think that anybody would like what I had to offer. I remember I had several albums already out, and I was at a church in Santa Rosa, in California. Actually, I'll be back there this weekend. And I remember being there several times, but I remember sitting behind my CD table and watching people come by and not buy my albums and feeling so pained. And I just remember thinking, I'm not any good. They don't want my stuff. And I wouldn't have put it in conscious language, but that was the feeling I had. It was just awkward. And I remember sometimes they would catch my eye, and I think they were picking up my awkwardness, and they would kind of smile and avert their gaze and move on about. And I sold some, but I wasn't paying attention to those. I was paying attention to the people that didn't stop by my table and therefore confirmed that I'm no good. That's what it was, that I don't have anything of worth to offer here. And it only took, I kept doing it, and I kept singing and kept trying to get better and kept doing this work around healing my sense of self-worth and value. And then, little by little, people would say, I bought your CD 3 years ago when you were here last. And I've been playing it ever since, and it's really helped me. And at first I thought they were lying. Because I used to lie to be nice to people a lot. So, again, I'm seeing it through the lens of which they're just being nice. And at some point I began to open enough to let that in. The song that we sometimes sing here, There Is Only Love. I had a woman come up and tell me, she said, when my mother died, we held hands around her, and we sang her from this world to that truth that you wrote, there is only love. Babies have been born to that song. And it's not about me. I'm not trying to brag on me and how great my song is. That's not it. It's that somewhere in, I was willing to at least let God use my gifts enough to keep doing it, even though I still had all this struggle about, is it good enough, is it good enough, is it good enough? And at some point, I began to let it in when people said, you're helping me. The work you're doing has value in my life. And I remember, I just gauged that church there in California because that was the first place I ever played outside of my own church in Dallas. And I've been there dozens of times over the years. And I remember the time after I had a healing of some kind, because I was standing there again, and I didn't have any feeling of anything. Like when people would not come by my table, it's like, great. And when they would come by, I could be present with them. And they'd say, which was your best one? I was like, well, that's like asking mother to pick her best child. But I was like, what are you interested in? What do you like? And I would talk about my CDs with a sense of appreciation. There's worth here. But you see, my lens that I saw, it was not about what they thought of me. It was about what I thought of me. You feel it? And when I was having these awkward eye exchanges with people, it wasn't about them. It was about me. I'm going to invite you to be willing to heal it. And how do you know where your false beliefs are? Well, Jesus had a really good clue. Where are you judging others? Where are you judging other people in your life? And that will usually point to where you're judging yourself. I had another friend who was up for a promotion in her job several years ago, and she didn't get it. And she made up this whole story of how she was unappreciated and how she was unworthy of that thing that she wanted so bad. And it turns out that she ended up leaving the company. And years later, her boss said, why did you leave? We were saving you for another position. That was not a fit for you, but we had something coming up. And her belief, because her not getting that one promotion she wanted, it was not the truth that she wasn't good enough. That was not right. But she told the story that means I'm not good enough. How many of us have done that? So how do we heal it? Practice. Someone asked me a few weeks ago, it was their first time here, and they said, how do we heal our belief system? She's like, I've been studying this stuff for years. And I said, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'll tell you how I did it. I did it through practice, and I did it in community. That's how I did it. Our main practices in unity, what are they? Who's going to tell me? Prayer and meditation. And affirmation and denial would be part of the way we pray. But yeah, prayer and meditation. Practice. Just keep doing it. Even if it feels like your prayers are getting about this high. You just keep doing it. And to do it in the context of community. Because in community, we're finally able to be known as we know other people. We do a thing here on Wednesday nights after service called our Unity Prayer Groups. Groups of 4 to 6 people who gather for a commitment of 4 weeks to join and hold a truth of a changed belief so they can have a changed experience. And it is about the practice, and it's also about community. Community is getting formed there. People are beginning to stop being spectators at Unity Church and start becoming community members, starting to know each other. And healing is occurring. I've asked someone to share tonight, and she's getting nervous. I can see her, but she's good. I've asked her to share, and she said, I have so many stories, but I've asked her just to pick one and just come share a story of how she has healed a false belief and had a different experience. Please give some love to our own Leslie Bauer. Come on up on the stage.
Hi. So I'm Leslie Bauer, and I've been coming here for about 2.5 years. And I began to really understand and benefit from the practice of affirmative prayer. And that really led me to want to join a Unity prayer group, because I thought, if I am doing this on my own and getting such benefits, what could happen if I did it the way the Bible says, when 2 or 3 are gathered? So I joined the Unity prayer group about 15 months ago. And I had many, many wonderful things happen, as Michael said, all the way from stuff showing up, money showing up in my mailbox the next day, to relationships healed. But that's the one I really want to talk to you about tonight, because that was the biggest one and probably the most time I had to spend on one. I had a very rough and tumultuous relationship with my mom for the better part of 30 years, and it was rough. And I started to use the Unity prayer groups to help me with that. And it had gotten so bad that we hadn't spoken in about 8 months. No texts, no email, no nothing. It was pretty severe. But applying these principles to my life changed everything. And I can tell you now, it took some time. This was not an instant one. This wasn't like the mailbox story. This was couple of months. But we went from not speaking or talking or anything for 8 months to talking 2 to 3 times a week now. And the other thing that I really want to say that this prayer group did for me is that this is a permanent healing. Mm-hmm. There were many times in that 30 years when things would be fine, but then the cycle would start again. It has been now over a year. It has been a wonderful relationship I had with my mom, because I knew that wasn't what God wanted for me. He wanted me to have that wonderful relationship with her again. And I owe it all to the Unity Prayer Group, and I know this can happen for you because it happened for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Wait just a second. Feel that love? So, Leslie, I want to ask you one question. What changed?
Me.
Say that again.
Me.
Yeah. Did you hear that? You changed. Thank you.
My mom had no idea that I was doing this prayer group. It was all me.
Yeah. Thank you, honey. That's what I want to let you know, is that she changed. Something opened. Something allowed a new experience of relationship with mom. Stop judging your mom about all the things you weren't getting. Start being, what's that great quote by Gandhi, is that become the change you wish to see in your relationship with your mom, or in your relationship with your husband, or in your work life. The last thing I want to tell you tonight, before we have our meditation, when I first got sober in AA, they told me something that was really valuable. They said, we're not bad people getting good. We're sick people getting well. And that really helped me, because I really thought I was so bad in my addiction, a really bad person. But what I want to share with you in Unity, we take that to like a much different degree. We don't believe that you're bad getting better. We don't believe that you're sick getting well. We don't believe that you're lost needing salvation. You are whole. You are the perfect expression of the perfect God. Just needing to reveal more of that. Needing to, because that is the nature of life, to evolve and reveal. You are a masterpiece. You're just not done yet. If you're interested in Unity prayer groups, we've moved our orientations to before the service, but I really invite you to think about joining next. I'll be right over there in that corner at 6:30 next Wednesday, so come and talk to me about it. That's just one way that this community is here for you. These practices are here for you. The truth is already in you. We just want to help you set it free. God bless you.